The time I got into a fight with a client and I lost. Actual physical altercation. All over a dog. And the lady was 50 years old. So, story time on that. So I had a client, 9 a.m. came, she had an appointment. She came to get her nails done. I'm doing her appointment. I'm an at-home nail tech. I'm doing her nails and then I get someone banging on the front door. So I go to open the front door and I'm like, hey, it's my neighbor. And my neighbor's like, Angela, like the lady that came inside of your house, she has a dog in the car and it's really hot outside. The dog is going to overheat. So I'm like, are you serious? I go upstairs and I'm going to name this client Miss Renda. And I was like, Miss Renda, you have a dog in the car? And she's just like, oh yes, I have the dog in the car because he's messing up my hardwood floor. And after I get my nails done, I'm taking him to go get his nails clipped down and he's going to get groomed. I said, oh, well, Miss Renda, you can't leave the dog in the car. It's going to overheat. You have to take the dog out of the car. So me being the pushover that I am, she goes, well, what room can I put him in? Okay, he's going to come in here and mess up my hardwood floor. No, he can't come in here. So I have a leash. I can give you a leash. You can kind of like tie him up or whatever. And give him some water and that kind of thing. So she goes and she ties him up in my backyard. And while she's tying him up, I just go back upstairs to my appointment, like my room. And then she comes upstairs. Now, I don't know where she ties him up at. I just know that I gave her the leash. She went out back and she tied the dog up and she gave the dog a water bowl. That's all I know. I went back upstairs. She's getting her nails done. Now she's back upstairs. She's getting her nails done and she's on the phone. And one thing I've realized about Miss Renda is that she may be a drug dealer or she does something illegal. But I don't ask any questions because come get your nails done and that's all I want to do. That's it. So she's like arguing with her mom on the phone, like, no, like the way my dad parked the car this morning, it seemed like he trying to set me up. And I'm like, what the heck is this girl talking about? But she's screaming. I work from home. My kids are in the house sleeping. It's still early in the morning. It's summertime. So I'm like, can you keep your voice down, Ms. Renda? And she was just and was like, Mom, I gotta go. And she hangs up on her mom. So I just stay quiet and I continue to do her nails and stuff like that. I did iterate to her like my kids are upstairs sleeping. So she hangs up on her mom and I'm still doing her nails and everything like that. And then she goes, do you mind if I go check on my dog? And in my head, I'm like, oh, you want to go check on your dog now? You wasn't checking on your dog when your dog was inside of the car dying. Okay. But yeah, go ahead, go check on your dog. So she goes downstairs. She goes to check on her dog. I don't know what had transpired. At that moment, I did not know what was going on. She comes up the stairs and she's flipping out. She's cursing, she's screaming, she's be this, be that, just going off. And as she's coming up the stairs, I get so nervous because she's yelling at me. I didn't know what else to do because she invaded like my personal space. I felt as if I had to hit her. Not that I would have wanted to, because when I tell you I know that Miss Renda lives a different life than me, I did not want to sit there and fight this lady. So I swang on her and I hit her. I think that was probably the worst mistake I ever made, because next thing I know, we're fighting for so long. I don't know if I even got any punches in because I was just being dragged all through my room. I had acrylics on the walls. They were all gone. My back was hurting so bad. And there was nobody there to break the fight up. And I was trying to fight her like it was there was an invader in my house and I had to kill them because I knew my kids were there and I was losing. So it was very scary for me. At one point we stopped and was like breathing and she was still trying to attack me. And I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, my back hurts. Like, she hit me in the face a couple times. It was like a lot. I hear someone banging on the downstairs while we're like still like staring at each other and she's still trying to talk to me and stuff like that. And what confused me was how we stopped what we were doing and both went down the stairs amicably. We go down the stairs. I open the door. This is during COVID time. I say to the police officer, how can I help you? He was like, oh, mind you, she came up the stairs because her dog was gone and she was pissed off. I forgot to put that in there. Her dog was gone. So being that her dog was gone, it was like she was mad. When I open the door and I'm talking to the police officer, I look across the street and I can see my neighbor with the dog in his hands. He had the freaking dog. Mind you, that means I just got beat up upstairs because my neighbor wanted to go into my yard and grab a damn dog. I tell the officer, I'm sorry, she just came in for a second. She drug dealer, she don't be snitching on nobody. She was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just visiting my friend. She said she had COVID. I just came and dropped off a little bit of medicine. I gave her a little test, blah, 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 blah. She still got arrested. You know why she got arrested? You can't leave a dog inside of a car, but then you also can't leave a dog on like asphalt, like hard, like hot asphalt. So, and then when they looked up her name, I think she had a warrant for her arrest. I really didn't get into that because he kind of went off with her, but she got arrested. Mind you, she left her purse. She left the dog. My neighbor had the dog. And I never really understood like how or why I hit her. I did not mean to hit her. And then believe me, I didn't want to fight her at all. But she hits me up like 3 days later. And she's like, hey, I respect how you held yours. I understand like what happened, but I really need my nails finished. Ma'am, you just dragged me in my whole entire nail room. Like my nail room is ruined. My back hurts. My face is bruised. I have scratches all over my neck. No. And then I was just like, I'm sorry, you can't come back. I do have your purse. What is your address so I can send you your purse? She was like, oh, what are you trying to set me up? Blah, blah, blah. So needless to say, at the time, I had to have Edward go and drop off the purse to her at a Wawa because I wasn't going to meet up with her. I was petrified. But like, I don't know how that transpired. I don't know how it got there. What I will say is just like doing nails, I never expected me to get into an altercation like that. But it humbled me really quick and just showed me that I really do pick and choose my battles, but this one was uncontrollable. And ever since then, I've been on a road to recovery when reacting, because that was the longest fight of my life. That was the most painful fight of my life. And more importantly, it was the scariest fight of my life. I don't know why I thought I was going to die. So, yeah, just figured I'd share my story time with y'all.
So, like, I was doing my client's hair, and she was like, oh, my God, my cousin gets on my nerves. And I'm like, what you do? Making conversation. And she's like, she just be getting in these relationships and, like, just to be in one. She was like, and the fact that I'm finding out by her being on a Black Love page engaged to some dude is wild. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Like, are y'all close? Because, like, why are you finding out like that? And she like, close enough for me not to find out like this. Boom. So she like, yeah, it says they're high school sweethearts and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, cool, that's what's up, whatever. So then I'm like, I didn't even know they had a page on Instagram dedicated to that. You know what I'm saying? So she like, yeah, I'm about to show you. So she pulls up the picture. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's my husband. And then I just casually kept doing her hair. The way she stood up and swung around and her shampoo cape flew around, she said, please stop playing with me. I was like, no, we're married. So she was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I'm like, we're not together anymore and shit, but like, we're married. So like, I don't know how they're about to get married. And then she starts going into how the cousin knows nothing about me or that he's married. So yeah, that's what happened. That's how I found out my husband was engaged.
You guys, one of the craziest things that's happened to me while being a nail tech. It was peak pandemic, and my husband's barber had told me that he had his girl, his baby mama, that wanted to get her nails done. I had told him I had just started doing nails if she wants to get like a discounted rate because I needed to practice. He said sure. He told this girl about it, and she scheduled an appointment with me. She had told me that she has a baby that's about a year old, and I told her due to the pandemic and being that your baby's so small, it's probably best that he should just stay at home so like that I can kind of focus on my work, being that babies take a lot of time, to take care of. They require a lot of attention. So she said, okay, no problem. So she came in that day. Everything was going fine so far. At that time, the girl started bawling out, crying in the middle of an appointment because she started disclosing to me how She was there that day with me to try to get pretty because her man openly cheats on her. And I was like, what do you mean he openly cheats on you? And she said, yeah, you know, he goes on dates frequently, and pretty much he was putting her down and making her feel like crap about herself, belittling her. And so that's why she's trying to get pretty, so that way he doesn't have to cheat anymore. Of course, I was talking her through that because I feel like no woman has to go through that, but she was still madly in love with this guy. He was the father of a child. Fast forward, we end up getting a knock on the door. A knock on my door. And I'm like, who is that? She said, I need you to stand by the door so that way you can hear what he says. And I'm like, who? She goes, my baby daddy. And I said, no way, he's here? She goes, yes, he's dropping off the baby. What? He's doing what? And she goes, listen to the conversation. Mind you, she's supposed to be there enjoying, relaxing herself because the baby's only a year old, and he's supposed to be taking care of the baby because she had this conversation with him a week prior and they had both agreed he was supposed to be watching the child. She opens the door and this man is dressed to the nines, cologne, he has his hair done, he has a pair of J's on, swagged out, and he's here arguing with her, talking about how you knew better, you were supposed to be watching the baby. And she started crying because she's like, what are you talking about? We spoke about it a week prior. You said that you're going to be watching the baby while I have some TLC. And he said, well, you wanted to be a mom, right? You knew I had to go on a date here. And he tossed the baby onto the girl, like as if the damn thing was a football, like the baby was nothing. And he told her, I heard it clear as day. He was like, you wanted to be a mom, right? This is your job, not mine. And tossed the damn baby. So she closed the door and was just bawling out, crying. And I felt so bad because I was like, look, you know, this isn't your fault. I'll continue doing your nails. We'll just set your baby up. It was a whole damn thing. The story after that got even worse because the poor baby could not stand staying still for too long. So the entire appointment, and it ended up taking easily 5 hours because we had to frequently stop to take care of the baby. The baby was throwing crackers at my face while I was doing a set of nails. The baby was crying nonstop. We kept trying to give the baby toys. And the baby he would be content for 5 seconds and would start crying again. She breastfed him. I mean, nothing worked. Baby pooped himself. She ended up feeling bad and vacuuming my house because the baby had made such a mess. But she left the baby's poop on my balcony, which I ended up having to toss. But I just thought that entire scenario was crazy. It was like a Jerry Springer episode at my house. And I said, after that, absolutely not. I'm not going to have any more kids. Like, I have a no child policy, no plus ones. And the whole thing about the baby daddy, like, that man ain't shit. Fast forward, funny thing, once I actually got better at doing nails, because from what I heard, as soon as she got home that day, because her nails were so cut up from me being anxious about the baby and the whole scenario, he had said, oh, that's the kind of work that she produces. Your nails look like shit. And I thought, yeah, because if it was to keep the baby, none of this would have happened. I had just started doing nails. Of course I'm going to be anxious. And the fact that you put me through all this made it even worse, you know? So once I actually started getting good with nails, fast forward, tell me how this man ends up reaching out to me. Fast forward, I'm now living in Florida. He's still in Jersey. And he was like, hey, I see that your nails are super good now. I have a girl. He's talking about a new girl that he's with now, right? Who knows what happened to baby mama and the baby. But he's like, I have a girl. I wanted to see if you could do some press-ons. And I said, sure. And I'm like, how much are you willing to spend? He goes, $200. I said, bet. He said, cool. I'm so excited. It's for my girlfriend's birthday. I never wrote the man back. He can kiss my butt because he's just a sack of caca. But yeah, I thought that was crazy.